Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
This hockey team, 7-3-2 in their first 12 games. They're doing it without Cootsie. They're doing it without Cam Atkinson. And with Carter Hart and the news that he was ill just about an hour or two before the game, here comes Felix, and the boys get a big-time W to smoke the St. Louis Blues. Now, say what you will about the Blues being terrible, which they are, about the Blues being on the second half of a back-to-back, and they just played the Boston Bruins, who are a scary bunch, who play the game tough, so it's going to wear you down. But I'm not going to act as if what the Flyers did still wasn't impressive, because what are you supposed to do with the team that might not have a lot of life? Beat them the hell up. And you saw that. 5-1, this team scoring 5 goals. This was the best they looked, and it started in Ottawa. It wasn't a perfect game in Ottawa, but the style that they played at least reflected more of a sustainable style. And what I mean by that is, we've been asking the question, can they survive? As long as we would like them to survive, with Carter Hart just carrying the workload and being that dude. And while I would love to say yes, because in this sport, that's what gives you the best chance, net minding, at times it felt strange. At times it didn't feel right. We take it, we love a W, or we love that extra point. Get that OTL? But I don't know if I can fully believe in what got you there on that given night. In Ottawa, well, you had to block shots, and you had to find ways. There was more to the eye test. Well, they followed that up with some great passing. Come on, that play where Lawton keeps the puck at the blue line. He passes it over to Sanheim. Tic-tac-toe. There's Noah Cage backdoor by the crease. That was great. And as soon as the Blues scored, there were the Flyers. Noah Cates gets the puck down low. He skates up the half wall, passes it to Nick Seeler, who throws it on net. And you get the first for the Fly guy in Sedlak. At times you're going, who the hell are some of these dudes? Here he is, putting the puck behind the netminder for that response that you were looking for. So the last we spoke, they were 5-2. They lost to Carolina. They went down 2-0. They fought back, scored 3 straight goals, but eventually fell in overtime. They got an important point against a team that's very talented, but you wondered, even though they're not the better team in that situation, could they have maybe somehow squeaked away with the 2? Then they fall in New York against the Rangers in a 1-0 overtime loss, which is just wild. Toronto didn't go so pretty. But this is where I give a lot of credit to the group, and I give a lot of credit to the people in this locker room. When you are the team that everybody mocks, when you are the team that everybody has low expectations for, and you start the season very well, but then, well, it wasn't egregious. You lose to Carolina, you lose to New York, and you lose to Toronto. Can it kind of slip from you? Is that where it could go in the other direction? Where it follows the path of what people thought about you before the first puck drop when the season began. Flyers are going to be hard to watch. They're going to be tough to watch. Not hard to play against. Not tough to play against. We thought it would be ugly. And when you lose 3 straight and you realize you don't have top talent, every time John Tortorella speaks about his team and where the goal scoring is going to be, I don't know. Wade Allison is scoring goals because of his pant legs 2 feet from the goalie. It was a beautiful sequence up by the blue line between Joel Farabee and Ivan Provorov. Great, excellent. Provorov skates towards the net. He tries to pass it back door. It's hitting all sorts of things going off Wade Howson. But that's what you're going to need. Nick Seeler's throwing pucks on net. That's what you're going to need. And it helps when the guys that do have talent, like Travis Konechny, cuts across the middle and shoots back to that side and puts it off the post and in. That's great. Have the goalie move post to post and fire it to that short side. So when you get a mix of all that, this is where you are. And the coach continues to send his message. He benched Rasmus Ristolainen in Ottawa. How did he respond? He was blocking shots all over the place. Was it a phenomenal game? No. But I think he said it best post-game. He said steps in the right direction. And I think that's actually the perfect description, the perfect label for what we saw at Erasmus. I wouldn't say it was as loud as what Travis Konechny and Kevin Hayes did when they were benched for the third period against the San Jose Sharks on that Sunday that nobody really paid attention to. It wasn't that aggressive of a statement from the players, but I don't think it was a bad one by any means. Sell your body. Put it out there for the boys. Block those shots. And this team is buying in heavily. Well, you know, if you don't do it, you're not going to play. You're not going to get your ice time. But I think, too, that there's something to be said about this team having more of a relationship, more of a bond. Last year, it didn't feel that way. There was no connection. Once it started to bleed out of control, it was more about everybody for themselves. Well, this season's a loss. Can I get my points? This season's a loss. Will I be able to score some goals? I got to worry about my contract negotiations in the long term. Let me put up some numbers. I'm all about myself, not buying into the D zone. They still don't play a perfect brand of hockey, and they never will. But what can you do consistently within this roster that you can hold your hat on? And I think it's getting your body in front of the pucks. I think their power play with Tony DeAngelo up at the top is awesome. And I got to give him a ton of credit. I've had him on the channel a couple times. He's a friend of mine. I never got to watch him on a day-to-day basis. There's a difference when you tune into the Rangers on a TNT game and you just watch a guy one game out of 82. Really, let's say you end up watching someone 5 or 6 times out of 82. It's a lot different than every shift. It's a lot different than every single rush. It's a lot different than watching the gaps, watching every power play, the ones that work and the ones that don't work. It's not just about the highlight reel power play goals, but what happens when it's a good power play but you don't score? Or how many times do you watch them go through the neutral zone with speed, use your skill, use your edges to beat a defender wide, set some things up, his vision, his passing. I'm just really impressed. I knew he was talented on the power play. I knew he could generate some offense, but I didn't know what he would look like next to a Provorov that had a lot of question marks after last season. I got to give him a lot of credit. I knew he had individual talents, but it's different going up against the other team's opponent or the other team's number one line, the opponent's top 3 forwards night in and night out. They grind, man. They battle. Delorier's in the corner. Guys are always in your face, getting up in the forecheck. Wade Allison's a pest. Noah Cates working his ass off nonstop. And I thought the Blues, knowing that they've been very bad, early on, Braden Shen picks a fight with Nick Seeler. Nick Seeler's out there throwing haymakers, really uppercut. He's got the uppercut going, smoked them. The McEwen fight wasn't really anything special. It was a quickie. But Zach McEwen this year has been a bit of a buzz, no? Generating points. Think about against the Senators. And this is after Claude Giroux lights the lamp and gets a bingo. I don't think anybody was surprised by that. I'm curious how it goes against the Sens at home 1 o'clock when he makes his return in an opposing uniform. Speaking of uniforms, the jerseys, the new jerseys, I like them. They're clean. They're very boring, but they're clean. Just the tiny hit of orange, white, and black. I can do without the pants, though. The pants for warm-up suck. Hate to break it to you, it's ugly. And what this really shows you, when you see the tradition around the league of all these awesome jerseys and their throwbacks, this tells you the Flyers don't have anything. And I get it, because Ed Snyder, who is no longer with us, rest in peace, he had a tradition with this organization, this logo. And I'm sure nobody wants to step on toes in regards to a new look. But I see some phenomenal jerseys. I see some phenomenal concepts. How about the Anaheim Ducks going with the throwback Ducks, but using the new colors with the orange? That jersey's sick to the point, and I'm not even a big jersey guy. I was thinking about going out and grabbing one of those. Let alone I don't have many Philadelphia jerseys because I just don't wear them as much as maybe I would have used to in the past. I got a few. I got a Hoskins. I got a Nola. I got a blank Flyer. I got some here and there. I got an Embiid. I got a few. But me going out and getting an out-of-market J, the fact that this is what the best of Flyers can come up with, I think it really just describes more about the lack of creativity. So I don't know who's going to be the first one to push those buttons, but I'm here for it. I think it would be good. Well, everyone's always afraid. They want to throw it back. They want to throw it back to the glory days. How about we make the new glory days? Why do we always have to look back with this franchise? Let's look forward. And I get it, it's the retros. So looking back with the retros. But I'm talking more about the fans. The fans always want to do that. I don't. I want to compete legitimately, damn it. And Torts is being Torts. Benching guys, healthy scratching guys. Think about how much compensation they gave up for Rasmus Ristolainen. Think about how much money he was paid to. And he goes, you're not even dressed. This isn't even a benching matter where they didn't like what they saw in a game and then limited his ice time. They said, dude, you're not even worthy of putting on the equipment. Go watch in the press box and keep your suit on. And I think it's telling that he ended up playing, if you look at his time on ice. Ristolainen played 16 minutes and 16 seconds. There was only one defenseman who played less, and that was Nick Seeler. So Sanheim 20+, Provorov 24, D'Angelo close to 23, Justin Braun 19. Ristolainen had 6 less shifts than Provorov, 5 less shifts from D'Angelo and Braun, and 4 less shifts from Sanheim. So just to lay it out for you in regards to how you think he played, better, and I think you can build off of this, but I want more. He's got a physical presence. But Torch is looking for more of the overall game, which I think is in him. This is why I give Tortorella a lot of credit. And he did the same with the Columbus Blue Jackets team. They weren't just filled with wild level talents, but he grabbed a lot out of his players. It may be because they're afraid of him, and he tells you how it is. So maybe it is a fear factor. I don't care what the factor is. I don't care how you do it. The job of a coach is to grab every single part of a player's game and get the most out of it. And he seems to do that with Konechny off to the start that he's at, Scott Laughton. I mean, now at this point, Tortorella's grabbing him after practice and just speaking with him on the side nonstop. And he's got a letter on his chest. That's where Scott Laughton is now at. If you told me that years ago, I wouldn't believe you. That they're going to bring in John Tortorella, the tough, hard-nosed guy, and he's going to be the dude with the letter. Now, I don't want to take a shot at Laughton here because I think he deserves that, and there's mutual respect, and that's why he has it. Trust me, he wouldn't just give that to anybody. But we know that Tortorella is a big psyche guy. He loves to play the mental game. given Lawton the only letter is also a statement to Kevin Hayes, Ivan Provorov, Travis Konechny, maybe not as much Cam Atkinson because he has enough time in the league with Tortorella. But I think it's more of a wake-up call and a reality check to some of the other guys. But that's how he does it. Sometimes it's funny because he's so brutal. I asked Torty about Sanheim. And this is when he got danced by John Tavares. The game in Toronto, dipsy doodling around him, danced him. I mean, his jockstrap was hanging from the rafters. It was that bad. And I said, what are you thinking about Sanheim? He got a big payday. The Flyers clearly value him. This organization likes him. Long term, not good enough. That was his answer. Not good enough. He's not good enough. You just don't get this. The intensity of the truth. I question it to a long-term level because at some point, guys check out. At the same time, though, he has the success that he has. And he does hang around each spot that he goes to longer than a couple of years. And you see where Columbus is now after he leaves. And even acquiring a star like Johnny Gaudreau. I'm just saying, it gives you more of a response to what happens when someone like Tortorella leaves a current franchise. There wasn't a lot to work with prior, and sometimes it ends up hurting you. Pierre-Luc Dubois doesn't want to stay. Or was it, wait, was it Line? I'm sorry, was it Line A, I guess you didn't want to stay? And the Pierre-Luc Dubois, am I getting confused? What, Pierre-Luc Dubois, why is it Line A? What am I doing here? Was Dubois with Winnipeg first? No, okay, Columbus, okay, then he went to Winnipeg. With Line A, and then, Line A, a little bit of both. I get both of those stories were true. So sometimes it goes the wrong way, and people don't like it. You know Dubinsky hates him. But I've spoken to a lot of guys around the league that just have so much respect for him and great things to say about him because he keeps it 100. All right, we'll take it. But I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying this. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'll say it again. We've spoke about this team a couple of times now. And I will say, now that the Phillies are over, and we're getting back into the normalcy of the winter sports season, we will be getting back into a flow of the Philadelphia Flyers conversation. It probably won't be as long in between times. And it helps that they're playing this way. Tonight was a lot of fun. No Sixers game on. The Flyers standalone. And they kicked some ass. First period got a bit lucky. You got to give a ton of credit to Felix Sandstrom in net, who made some big saves, some shots from the slot area. Comes up large with the blocker. Played excellent, especially on some short notice where you didn't really think you were going to get the nod because Carter Hart was initially going to play. Some posts, the crossbar. That's the way the cookie goes. That's the way the puck bounces. What do you do when that's the case? Do you let them keep that success going? Do you stay back on your heels? Or will you eventually get up ice and start generating your own looks? The Allison goal, greasy. TK goal, beauty. Noah Cates goal, beauty. 4-1, beauty. I think it starts with Noah Cates' knowledge with the puck on his stick to get it to Sealer. I say it's a beauty because of how quickly the response was as a team. Where you just eliminate right from the rip the what if or the uh-oh or the other team's momentum. Nope. Nip it in the bud. We're not even talking about it. Erase it. And then Owen Tippett throws a puck on net. Here's what I like with Owen Tippett. When it comes to a guy like that, sometimes it's just about seeing a goal on the goal column. Sometimes it can just be the littlest things. Because I'm still trying to learn what Owen Tippett is. I think he could play. I think there's something to it. He's got some size to him. I think he's got a rip. But I think he's having a tough time putting it together all around. And I know that the coach is challenging him. So right now he has, if you look at his stats for this season, he's got 5 points in 7 games. Does that count tonight's game? Yeah, it does. That does count tonight's game. Oh, he had an apple in there too. Which goal did he have the apple on? Oh, and Tippett's. Which goal was it? He got that on, the TK goal. The TK goal. Him and Kevin Hayes. That's right. So 2 points for him. It's even better. That's even more awesome. That's phenomenal. So that goes a long way. Because before that, it was 6 games played with 3 points. Not that that's bad, but 7 games played in 5 is a lot better. And I think there's something to him. We have text messages. We got phone calls. We'll do a combo of both. We'll go to Jimmy. Jimmy's always calling. I appreciate you, Jimmy. What do you got for us?
I gotta say, man, the Flyers look really, really good right now. I mean, John Tortorella, like his message, it's clearly getting across to these guys because even without Coots, even without Atkinson, even without JVR, even without all the guys that have come and gone throughout this franchise the last 2 or 3 years, this team is playing winning hockey right now. They look hungry. They got chemistry out there. They're making the right plays, getting good forechecks, playing good in their own defensive zone. They're getting good goaltending. I'm not sure how sustainable this is, but hey, I'll take anything because this team was supposed to be nothing this year and nothing out of the gate especially. So I'm taking this hot start and I'm running with it.
Now, I am too. Now, at times you bring up the D zone, and look, there's times where they're on their heels. But what do? They sacrifice their body. They're literally sometimes looking like a netminder doing a 2-pad stack. They're selling their soul for the fellas, for the room. And that goes back to, I think this team isn't as selfish. They care about one another. You could see with their facial expressions when they score. They believe. They believe. And I'm sure they feel disrespected for what happened last year. And there was a lot of times where I would bring up, and it's hard to sell everybody this because of where the current state of the franchise was. And even I, as the offseason went along and they signed Delorier to this big deal and he's got a no movement clause and they don't go after Gaudreau after they say they want to aggressively retool, and it just became a mess. I started myself internally questioning it, but there was a time where I said, whether you like it or not, Kevin Hayes, Travis Konechny, I mentioned Couturier and Lawton and Atkinson, even though they're not playing right now. And I'm like, they're too good to be that bad. Now, I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know exactly what the ceiling is. But when you look at last year, it's so hard for me to believe that Ivan Provorov is going to suck that brutally. Say what you will about Risto. I thought Sam Heim actually had some flashes last season of bringing the two-way game to it. I'm like, there's no way. Like Carter Hart, there's no way. They're that pathetic. I can't say I expected 7-3-2 in their first 12, especially with a couple of those back-to-backs. They got a pretty tough schedule. How many times were we like, yeah, they got a back-to-back. They're doing their back-to-back, back-to-back, back-to-back. They even have a weekend back-to-back coming up, right? They play the Sens on Saturday, and then they play the Stars on Sunday. Are there any other ones? I went through their entire schedule to get myself ready for what we're going to be doing each night with Broads Media stuff. Yeah, on the 25th, they play the Pens. And then they go on the road after being at home against the Penguins to play the Islanders the following night, 25th and 26th. I wouldn't even be surprised if they play the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Just nonstop. Crazy. So, no, I didn't expect this. But I did believe that last year was giving you the full knowledge on every player. But when they come together as a team like this, it changes it all. All right, let me pull up the app here to look for some text messages. Andrew says, I'm sure you get this all the time. Is it time to now believe in this team? I'm having a hard time doing that, Andrew, and here's why. We all saw the previous seasons and what their record was after more than the first few set of games, but, 10, 12 games into the year, it wasn't anything terrible. With that, though, this one feels different. But I've been fooled before saying this feels different. There's been times I'm like, well, it doesn't feel exactly like previous seasons, so I started to believe the hype. And then by the end of it, it's like, well, there was a reason why we had that feeling in our gut. There was a reason why we kind of had that understanding of, is this real? Over 82 games, I would think that reality settles in. Now, the answer is, or the question becomes then, what's reality? Is reality a final wild card team? If you have a great goaltender, not just a great goaltender, by the way, one of the best goaltenders in the league. If that continues, the normalcy would be a team that's actually competing, because that's how you win in this league. A hot goaltender. I don't know. To answer your question, is it time to believe? I don't know. I don't know. I'd say I'd be leaning towards no. If you're asking me, are you putting all your chips in? If we're playing poker and we're sitting at the table and you got a hand that says the Flyers are real this year, are you putting all your chips in? I'm not. I'm not yet. That doesn't mean I'm not enjoying this. That doesn't mean I'm not intrigued. It doesn't mean that I'm thinking that they're going to be awful. Because I don't know if they are anymore. But when you say, is it time to believe? Believe what? Because that matters. And I wish you could text back in live and answer that for me. Maybe you can text in after you're listening to this. And if it's after the show's over, I'll respond with you back and forth on the Anytime Hotline. If you're asking, is it time to believe that they're real? I'm going to go no. But that's today, on August 8th. August 8th. I saw the 8th, so I went to August. It's 11/8. On November 8th. I'm going no. Doesn't mean I can't change that, though. Marcus asked, should Travis Konechny be a captain? Not every skill player and goal scorer has to be a captain. I personally don't think that he fits the mold for what a John Tortorella captain is. That doesn't mean that he doesn't do things that Tortorella likes. He likes that feistiness. I don't see him as a full-on leader. I could see what they see in Lawton. I could see what they see in Hayes. I don't know if Provorov fits that. I don't know if any defenseman on this team has that attribute to them. Cam Atkinson, I can see as an A guy, not a C guy. Maybe Tortorella's right. They don't have one. They don't have one. Couturier, I could see that. I wouldn't have an issue with it. He's the one that fits it most for me, and I know that's somewhat of an obvious one, but I think there's a reason why it's obvious. Sometimes you don't have to overanalyze things. Got to get on the ice. That would be the first step. And that whole situation is frustrating. I don't see him as a captain. I don't see him as a captain personally. And then we'll do one more. Noah, how did you think Rasmus looked out there? I'm afraid they overpaid for his ass. Well, no. Well, I think they did too, Noah. I think they did too. At this point, I've given you where I'm at with his play. And I thought it was okay. I'm pleased. I want more. Oh, there's no doubt that we demand more. We expect more. And I think he can give us more. But if you think about, okay, you have a player who the organization and Chuck Fletcher thought was worth a lot. You're not very happy with him. So you put him in a suit. And then the next time you put him in the lineup, he gives you this. I think you shake your head with a nod. And you say, let's add. This is fine. Plus what, though? And we'll see what the answer is on Thursday. Who do they play on Thursday? The Blue Jackets. You better beat them the hell up, damn it. Thank you guys all so much. I love you. You're the greatest. Excited to talk some puck again. I'll catch you guys on the next one.